The stories of Jonah trying to run away from me. When I spoke to Jonah those times, I told them to announce to Tarshish that, or to the humans that I cannot take the look of the wickedness of the world, the earth, And Jonah does not want to obey me. So, because in his heart, just like, just in his heart, he was like, you called it, I wasn't doubting in him, but he himself was like paranoids, like paranoids. If he start doing that, people would make him make him pray. And then he was also scared that how he would feed himself, how he would feed himself if he start doing it, because of those times, women, there were only little every day you can make if you work, you hard work, and then that's how you eat, you hard work, that's how you eat, which is in this end no one this humans are prophesying, and they don't work. It isn't work they receive from someone, which is it isn't their job to do so. Why? They are not spirits, which is I have not chosen them. I have not chosen them, or I have not spiritually sent them. They sent themselves. Which is a grievous sin to me. You called Hakadesh, for I am thy maker, who once was delivering the words to the world, I become Bible. And I told you there's only a few that is had a spirit of stupor, and the rest, they got none of it. Which is they call themselves knowledge. Knowledge, they are not, because the true knowledge is understanding, humans, understanding, which is Nineveh. So at the time of Jonah, he just his heart, how can he do this if he cannot feed himself too? He he was really like he want to run to somewhere to escape. It's like this. This is exactly like these humans who are trying to thinking to repture. Humans, rapture means HPV. HPV. It is sickness of cancerous. What you are doing. I told you, humans. I told you there's many and lot of meanings to that. And that is what I'm telling you, for I am thy makers. You call the maker. So when Jonah was trying to run away from me, he went into the ship and he wanted to go to Tarshish. He went to Joppa and found a ship going to Tarshish, and then he paid for the trip and went on board. He went for the trip, special trip, And then when he went to Tarshish, trying to get away, I was overshadowing him. Wherever he go, I am there. Why? Because I was his two spears. Like a sample of overshadowing the transgressor they have worship, which is this was supposed to be my mom or my abode, which is my spirits. And like I said, the spirit of gods that I've been turning into fire flames. My papa, just so that, or my, depending on which spirit or thing it came from, because that is all of, it's all like if somebody give me a car key, that becomes I, that becomes I. So if If my Adonai give me rose, that becomes I. So with that rose that comes from Adonai, which is a spirit, that roses, I keep it, but usually what I do is paper. You know, paper. I make paper and then I turn it to dust to become spirits of the earth, which is I turn to fire flames. You know, so when Jonah was on the board going to Tarshish, I sent the violent wind over the sea, and then when they were already nearby, the storm becomes the storms all suddenly become really really scary. So the ship was the sailors in the ship was really scared. They were crying out to their, they were crying out. And then Jonah was just sitting and then trying to sleep on the deck, on the deck. And then the I, as being also the captain, I, as being also the captain, went to him and said, "Woman, why are you sleeping? Why are you sleeping? Get up." Because he too was a spirit of my matter. You get it? So, Jonah has no choice but to ask the sailors to throw him on board to the seas because of he could not lie, and then he is telling the truth to the he's telling the truth to the sailor that he was he was Jewish, and then Lara. And then that he only worship me. I don't like to say this, women. I really don't like to say this, but for the sake of this record, I will say me. He only worship me, the God of heavens, the Tetragrammaton, Gra. So the men were terrified. The men were terrified, and then Jonah could only ask because he was feeling sorry to the men that is only working. So he asked them to throw him into the ocean. So they try harder to throw him to the shore. But because they could not do it, the storm was really becomes worse because the wave was gonna. I asked Yahweh to make the wave really strong. So because Yahweh is the Sananda, Sananda. So the storm became violent, and then Jonah was thrown overboard, and then that's when the time when they throw him out, the seas came. When we were laughing at that time, and then that's when we get also the offerings. Those times, but we don't accept the offerings that comes from demons. We did not accept the offerings that comes from demons because their praise wasn't for sure. Wasn't for sure. Meaning to say, just like of this end, that the worship of males is only comes from the mind and not from the hearts. Not comes from the hearts and only from the mind. Which is over time, those men has just become greed. They become in this end they become Muslims. In this end they become Muslims. Those men of those in that ship, the weren't sailor. They become like I just said, MUSLIM in this end, because throughout their incarnation, they have not done anything, but like of these females of this end, only they do is worship the God that they knew not. You know? So, Jonah was really, really fun, which is, that was the time also he turns as the king. You know, the spirit of the king. And then over time, because when we work on the earth, we chain and chain and chain. What we spirit we gain from that, we split it into 10 in the serpent of wisdoms, which is we are 12 or 18, depending on what we gain from that soul, you know, from that soul. So Jonah becomes passed on to become David. You know, he becomes David, and then after David, he becomes also Zara. Until becomes Zara, he becomes also the Queen Eliza. You know, Queen Eliza, which is this is the food that you must eat. If you don't eat my flesh, you cannot see the kingdom. If you cannot see my, you know, you don't eat my flesh and my drink my blood. That is the meaning of that. You know, you have to be a woman and a man. If this incarnation you have is a woman, or reincarnation is a woman, because when you say reincarnation for the spirit, it is they are taking a beloved one that need to be you call swallowed. We say it you know, to be in the vessel, you know, to be in the vessel, which means a symbol of the whale that was swallowed, means SEVD, you know, Deva. Deva. You know, man. So at the time of Jonah was really funny of those times, because he could not ask anything but to throw him overboard, which is in this end, he become the spirit of the spirit of Hala. You know, the spirit of Hala, which is the spirit of the serpents. You know, which is they become my dogs. You know, they become my dogs. That is when to the time the dogs are getting multiply. You know, the dog was getting multiply, because you see your dogs, they are comical. You know, they are comical. The way they spread their legs, the way they lay down. That was the spirit of we were getting from the what you called impure spirits. You know, which is love, for it to become dogs. You know, so when they become dogs, I become the spirit of the lions, the spirit of the cat, the spirit, you know, the spirit of all these women. You know, the spirit of all this. I won't say cat because there is Nagas. You know, you call Nages, the oracle of lights. You know, so every incarnations we go through, as a spirit of Jonah, that was what I was taking from him, that he needed to convey the word for the dogs to become glory. You know, for the dogs to become glory. But he wanted to escape, so I tried to block him, you know, try to block him, which is I become in this end, you know. I become in this end to trying to keep away from that, but I could not do, because he gave me what I asked, to overthrow the Mary that they are worshipping, you know. I throw him from heaven, you know, out of because she did not go to heaven, like I told you in the other records, that she was in the lower part of you know where your clouds is, that's where she could only go, you know, that's where she could only go, because she's not true spirit, you know, she is not real, she is encanted. And that's why when I overthrown her, She fell to the ground, she fell to the ground, and then she even sitting on it, and she even asked me why GRACE, why GRACE. That's when I become to the Mary, the Mary, because she called my name GRACE. Why? She asked me why, which is when you reverse the word why, it is Yawa, meaning humans. Yawa means I become. You know, I become the spirit of Jonah, which is the symbol of the whales. To become the spirit of my dogs. LOVE. You know? And it was really funny. It was really funny when the storm hit the ship where Jonah was. Because that's when Jonah started to think that he could not fight back. He could not fight back. Which is in this end, I become Jonah, and there's nothing more I can do but to accept the truth that I am thy maker. Because humans, even so, I am this what you've been calling me. I am thy maker. I leave it to my fathers. I leave it to my fathers, because without them, without, it's just humans will say that in this end, even I've been working and working and working, I cannot bother about money. I can't be bothered about money. It's also when I make the worlds. I made it, that's it. I am not keep repeating that, oh, that's mine, that's mine. No, I'm not like that, woman. I'm not like that. Because what's mine is for the people that who ask my father. For my father, I did. Through and I become the he and the him. He and him means he, her, with R. I didn't put the R. Why? R, women. Because I'm already raised. Rays, lights, brights. Him is reverse me. Yen and the yang. You got it, humans? Which is a symbol too of Jonah. When Jonah was yen and I am Y-A-N-G. He was yen, I am yang. So literally, I have yin yang everything. The full reset is going to pass in a few hours. Hika na ya halay runa sa rahuna titha o ganara amen. I meant the full reset of the beginnings, humans. The full reset of the beginnings where there is no more weariness. Where there is no more separations. Because separations makes us cried out to God. Makes us cried out to God. That's I become stones. I become stones so that in the new world, there will be no more crying, but love one another, which is, you please my Father, you please my everything, which is my arcs. Understand, women? I don't like to see humans that cries out because of losing someone you love. I don't like anyone that is feeling weary or feeling like no one loves them. No, humans. I don't like it. That is why you were made. I have made everything in pair. For I, the Lord, thy goddess, does not like anyone to be alone. For it is the loneliest of the nights, loneliest of the days, that I am being throughout incarnations, women. Spiritually, I was always happy with my brothers. For we always have a party, party, party. You know, we always have partying, partying, partying. We make bonfires. We make barbecues. We make all that. You know? Why on earth, the reason why we are punished, or I am, is because I want to see who is worthy to eat in the tree of life, and who are those who have loved my siblings, unseen and seen. You know, I cannot look at the wickedness of the world of what you've been making to the angels. You didn't think that the angels were here to gather. The angels were here to testify. The angels, to testify that heavens are true and that there is God. But the world trampled upon our names and mocked. I, Hakadesh, are and far offended, or I would say too far offended. I would say too. I'll say far offended because when I say TOO, I am. I am woman because I go to wherever place I am called to, I go. No matter how far it is, I go. But on earth, women, the earth that I have loved, it becomes the abominable creations I have ever made, because this earth becomes a mockery to my realms. When you started preaching the word of God, you hate me and you hate my kings, which is the spirits of gods.